Welcome to Old Guy Tech,
the OGT.TV recording studio.
Technology for the rest of us.
Hey, this is Rob, Old Guy Tech TV. Crime Beat time. Sheriff DeAugustini is with us today. It's August 13th, a steamy 85 degrees in downtown Diamond Springs. And thank you, John, for coming in once again and spending a little bit of time with us. You know, we cover an awful lot of topics, and there's always a few that people like to hear about. But let's talk about the most recent fire that was close to your heart, between your property and your job, and close to us as far as reporting information out, and that was the sand fire. Why don't we talk a little bit about how the Sheriff's Department was able to help and jump in and do what was needed to be done?
Well, you know, the Sheriff's Office, we are the Office of Emergency Services in the county, delegated to the Sheriff's Office. So we have a huge part in disasters such as that.
Right.
We fire up the Emergency Operations Center, the EOC. As soon as the incident was large enough that it was a multi-jurisdictional command. We took on Law Branch, that part of the incident. We are in charge of all the evacuations, and then the security of evacuated areas. We have a huge part in, along with Red Cross and everybody else in the evacuation centers. We have a big part in everything.
Right.
You know, when that kicked off Friday afternoon, it was. I say this. Number one, I'm very, very proud not only of my troops and my folks, employees of the El Dorado County Sheriff's Office. They did a fantastic job. But everybody that worked together. Yeah. The communication, the collaboration, those relationships that we work on constantly, and we're always trying to make better, really pay off when we do have an incident such as the sand fire. Right. I was impressed. You know, the first night I had actually took up a post on I guess it's the south side of the Middle Fork of the Consumnes, just east of the convergence with the South Fork. Okay. And watched, assisted with some evacuations off the bat, and then sat up there and watched and listened to all the first responders, fire, CAL FIRE, my guys, and everybody working together. Right. And I was very, very impressed. Yeah. Very impressed.
Yeah, it's quite a juggling effort to get everything going, get those tankers and those helicopters in place, get the bulldozers and those guys in place, get the hotshot crews in place. I mean, it was incredible.
It was. Yeah. And that night, you know, I was coming down from the Jeepers Jamboree was going on. Yeah. Up in
go figure.
Up in Rubicon Springs. I mean, so I had spent Friday. Well, before that, we had a joint operation going on with National Guard up in the forest for a search and rescue exercise. So I went to that, was there for a while, and then I went up and flew into Rubicon Springs and was at the Jamboree for a while. And about 4 o'clock, I flew out, got to Loon Lake, and I heard the chatter on the radio about the sand fire. It was just kicking off. By the time I came down Highway 50 and got to the salt barns up above Pollock, I could see it, and I realized this is a bad one. Yeah. So I got down to Placerville, filled up my fuel tank, and headed out there. Got a hold of my Sergeant Jim Byers, who was out running the operation out there, along with Deputy Jordan Thompson, who was our rep at the Incident Command Center. And first thing that I did was I went down on the freshwater side, which is on the north side of the river canyon there, to assist with some evacuations. And as I was going in, all my guys were coming out, including Sergeant Byers, and the fire was right there. So we got it all down in here. We need to get out of here.
Yeah, so,
move. So we got up to the top, and that's when we realized that it was also the south side where air support was calling Amador County
Uh-huh.
I kept saying it's in Amador County
Yeah,
on the
I know.
south side and El Dorado on the north side. And I said, no.
No.
I said, it got part of Amador County, but that's El Dorado County too. Because
Right.
the South Fork is the county line. Well, the fire was in the Middle Fork Canyon.
Mm-hmm.
And it had burned east of the convergence of the South Fork and the Middle Fork there.
Right.
So it was in El Dorado County on the
Right.
south side of the river.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So when we were looking at maps, and I said, I know that area over there like the back of my hand. That's where I grew up. So I went over there with a couple other deputies. They started doing some evacs on that side of the river. And then I posted up, like I said, and watched. Now, Friday night, everything settled down very, very well.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I left the house left that post probably around 11 o'clock at night, went home, got up about 6 o'clock in the morning, and was back up there on that same ridge that I was on the night before.
Right.
And the fire really hadn't moved much. It looked good. I looked through my binoculars. What I could see, they had lines cut pretty much all the way around the fire.
Well, they had those dozers working like crazy.
They did all night long.
Oh, yeah.
So I felt pretty good about it, and I left and went to the EOC, talked to everybody there, then went over to the evacuation center, talked to some folks there, and then when I was on my way back, around 11 or noon, somewhere around there is when it
Took off
jumped
again. Yep.
and got into the Spanish Creek drainage, and that's the drainage where my family's ranch where I
Right.
live is on that drainage.
Yeah.
And so I ended up back out there that day, running around, helping with evacs, talking to different folks, keeping family calm as I could,
Yeah.
and then watched as they stopped it probably within just a few hundred yards of different members of my family's house, my brother's house, my folks' house, my grandmother's
Wow.
house. They got it all stopped there. Saturday night, again, it settled down. We were praying that it wouldn't do the same thing Sunday, and it
Right.
didn't. They
Right.
were able to keep a handle on it. So,
Yeah.
but it was a little touch and go there.
It was. So I told you what we did, Old Guy Tech TV here did, and I think maybe that was the one gap that people probably haven't thought about. We here went on the air basically 24 hours solid, getting information out to people, because as the fire spread, the homes lost power, they lost cable, they lost telephones. The only way they were getting information was going online. And so we were broadcasting, and we were taking all this information that was coming in from CAL FIRE, from some of your guys, and we were bringing it up. For instance, like the big news was when the fairgrounds got full of horses, they made the deal with Rancho Murrieta Equine Center to start moving them over there. We actually got the gal on the phone from the Equine Center to talk about how she wanted that handled. And she talked about it, and she needed volunteers, and we started directing people with equine over there. And a number of them told them that if it hadn't been for us, they wouldn't have known where they were going to go. And we also got some volunteers to go over there and help work out too. So that worked out really well. So, if folks, one of the things that happens in a fire, in communication is really important. And the deal with the reverse 911. I know that you wanted to talk about that. We can tell the people what that means, and I'll talk a little bit more what I think needs to be added into the mix.
Well, we used reverse 911 5 times on the Sand Fire. We put out 5 separate evacuation or notifications through reverse 911. Reverse 911 is when you call in 911 to our dispatch center. If you dial 911, it comes in, and your information, address, immediately pops up on the screen.
Right.
So a reverse 911, what we can do is take a geographical area and all addresses in that area, we reverse that.
Right.
We call into that area.
Right.
And it's very effective. It works very, very well. However, databases, being what databases are not always up to date. They're not always complete. And that the original reverse 911 is only really and was only made for landlines.
John.
So Close the door.
I hate to say it, but all the sound's coming through. Sorry, guys. One of the glitches about being live here.
The live broadcast.
But anyway, yeah. So
what we've done, and we started it before the Sand Fire,
right.
was and you can go on, and an individual can go on to our website, and if you look at the front page of our website, if you just Google El Dorado County Sheriff, one of the first couple links that comes up is for the
right.
Sheriff's Office. The front page, down on the right-hand side, there is a link that has to do with Reverse 911.
Okay.
You can go to that link, and it will walk you through how to sign up your cell phones, and to make sure that even your landline is correct.
Right.
And we're encouraging everybody to do that. Everybody in the county, go online, because a lot of people don't even have landlines anymore.
No,
they've gotten
correct.
rid of them, and all
Cell
they have
phones.
is cell phones.
Right.
So that you can get that information, even if you do have a landline. When we have the Reverse 911 call, it goes to the landline. Well, if you register your cell phone, you can be at work. You can still get the information.
Right.
Your spouse can get the information.
Right.
It works, and we really want people to sign up for it. Now, there was some problems with this Reverse 911, the calls that we made. The vendor that we use, apparently there were some issues with, again, I mentioned databases having problems.
Right.
Apparently there was an issue with a certain layer. They call it a layer. All the data is laid on in layers. You have the APN parcel information. You have the owner information. You have the landline information. You have the cell phone information. And then all those layers are broken up into different layers, such as from this date to this date,
Sure.
or from this
Right.
date to that date, or
Right.
different things like that. One of those layers was inadvertently left off of that, and it wasn't included in that Reverse 911 call. That's since been fixed, and we're always looking for new ways and looking for issues and having them troubleshoot it. They assured us that would never happen again, but again, databases being what they are, things happen.
It does. Yeah.
So, but I really encourage everybody, please go on and sign up for that service. It's free. It doesn't cost you a dime. We're not going to sell your information to anybody. We're not going to sell your phone numbers. This is for emergencies.
So this link is good to update your information as well?
Yes.
Okay. So if you
As
haven't
far
done...
as I know, you
Yeah.
can go on. If you can see what you have there, and if there's problems with it, you can fix it.
Good, yeah. It would only make sense that you can go ahead and update your information. Maybe that's something you should do every year or so, is jump in there and make sure it's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So please do that. We're gonna try something that's never been done before that I know of. Not here in El Dorado County. It's been done in other places, but we're gonna actually try and put out a Reverse 911 to notify people about this Reverse 911 service.
All right.
We're trying to work some stuff out and make sure that we're doing it legally and everything's
So you're going to
okay
phone
to do that.
spam everybody is what you're going to do, huh?
Exactly. But it's that important because it was
it is.
very important during this incident.
Well, I think I told you a little bit, and for those of you out there watching it, for the benefit of everybody, one of the things that that we did here at Old Guy Tech TV is that we went live, over 24 hours live, of aggregating all this information we were getting from CAL FIRE, from Ubinet, from all these different sources, and the information was coming into us and I used the example of when the fairgrounds got full with equine, they needed to get the message out that all the rest of the horses need to be moved to the Rancho Murrieta equine center over there, and they used us to help get that information out. And I think that if there's anything, I'm giving it away. I know, and next thing I know, the county will be owning it. So, but what we realized is that when a fire happens and you're in a fire area, you lose power, you lose phone lines, you don't have cable TV anymore, but the only thing you have is your smartphone. Right. And if you can get out at all, every internet capable, from smartphones to iPods to tablets to Androids, whatever, you can get to our website and you can see what we're doing as far as getting information out. And it was the only way we were getting calls. They said it was the only way we were getting any information. And we had 2 monitors going 24/7, listening to what was going on, telling people where they're making drops. We really did this for the good of the community, and we felt good about it as well. And so I think that is the one missing piece to the whole puzzle. Is it's easy to forget that everybody's got a smartphone now and everybody can get internet.
Got to get it out there.
Yeah.
And another thing for you folks out there, Rob has pretty much done this out of the goodness of his heart, unfortunately, and he's getting charged now with over $1,500 just to have that information up for you out there. So if you're out there and you took advantage of that, if you could help, yeah, absolutely. If you could help Old Guy Tech any way you can, it would be much appreciated, because that's for us too, to have that information out there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was really good, and I want to
shameless plug.
Well, I appreciate. No, not shameless. We need it. If you guys want to see us be here much longer, we need it. And one of the nice things is that on Facebook, the El Dorado Watch was sending us information. We had people sending us maps of the area. We were able to put maps up and show people where the fire is going, the direction of the winds. I mean, it was pretty neat. I mean, we had maps with little squares showing where the hot spots are, which way the smoke was going. So we gave a lot of information out, and the only way you could get it is over the internet. So I thought that was pretty cool, and I know a lot of you guys out there thought that was cool too, and it helped a lot. So we're very glad to do our little part on this, and we'll be here. God forbid there's another one, but we've got a lot of dry weather still ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. It's early. It's still early.
Boy, you know, this thunderstorm that came through, were we lucky or what?
Very, very. I was talking to my wife on the phone.
Yeah.
I had just left Upper Broadway at Placerville for a meeting, and right when it was starting here, and I was watching. I was on the phone with my wife and saying, "Oh, geez, look at that one," and she says, "It just left here, and luckily they got a downpour."
Yep.
And right after I saw it, then we got a downpour here, which
so
probably
lucky.
saved us more ways than one.
It probably did. I know there were still a few small spot fires, but I freaked when that came through here. I thought, oh no, here we go. Because when you get a lightning fire, you get them in all these weird spots.
Oh, yeah.
It's very hard to fight that.
And it was impressive lightning. I mean, it was right down to the ground.
It was.
Boom.
And it was going cloud to cloud. When it first came down here, you know, we went out and dumb us. Oh, let's go watch this. You know, but we stayed under cover. And it was going from cloud to cloud to cloud. I mean, it was impressive. So I know you guys in the Midwest are going, you ain't seen nothing. I know. But for us here in El Dorado County, we don't get a lot of lightning. So. But we were really, really happy that it didn't cause any real major problems. So that was really it. So make sure you get onto that 911 reverse directory. Go to the sheriff's website and click on that. Make sure your information is updated. And I think it's really important. And thank you to everybody that helped out on this fire. I think El Dorado County needs to pat themselves on the back, because everybody jumped into this thing. There was nobody not wanting to help, I mean, it was incredible the amount of people that were calling and helping and jumping in and doing what needed to be done.
Yeah, and then on the 22nd, the night of the 22nd, are you aware of the big sand fire benefit that's going on at the fairgrounds?
Yeah.
Everybody, I can't believe the amount of community members and groups and everybody that is stepping up. And 100% of the proceeds, this isn't some nonprofit organization that you worry about how many of the actual dollars actually get to the victims. 100% of all the money raised will go to those that have lost their homes. It's August 22nd at the fairgrounds. Like I said, pretty much everybody in the community is stepping up. Pretty much it was started mostly by Gordon Vicini and his group. We got Thompson's Toyota. They have Thrive with 1035. The sheriff's office is involved. The local lodges are involved. Everybody is stepping up. It's going to be quite an event.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been waiting for that poster to come through. There have been a couple people who keep promising me we put it up on our site, but we haven't seen it yet.
You haven't seen it yet?
Mm-mm.
I'll I think I have it on my phone. I'll try and see if I can find it
Okay.
and forward
Yeah.
it to you.
I know it's out there. I saw a small one that somebody wanted to
Actually,
send us
it's on
a letter.
our. It might be on our website by
Might
now.
be the sheriff's website.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll get it. We'll get it and put it up on Old Guy Tech too, so that you
Yeah.
guys can see what's doing. We don't know if we're going to be there or not. We're going to try, but there's some other things. But again, guys, good job out there with everybody fighting this fire, and I mean all the way down to the homeowners and everybody else who volunteered. Thank you. Good job. That was a job well done. So, let's talk about facilities.
How's the facility going?
Yep. How's it going?
It's going good. Right now, again, it's still in the board's hands. They are finishing up negotiations.
So we're still
In
that
negotiations,
stage.
still in there. They have formed a committee to research finance options. Again, government at its best. What do you do when you have a problem? You create more government to make a decision. But that's okay. It'll get to where it goes. I'm on the committee to figure out how we're going to pay for it.
Right.
What's the most efficient, effective, quickest, easiest, cheapest, saves the taxpayers the most money in the end to pay for this facility.
Right.
There are many options. There's a lot of different options out there.
Can you give some examples? So we're talking
There
about
there's the two biggest ones are go to a bond, a revenue bond, general obligation bond, which you know and I know that's a tough row to hoe right now.
I hate bonds.
And they cost a lot of money. Another way that I'm more leaning towards, and I think it's much more. I know it is much more efficient. It's faster. It's cheaper. Is something similar to it's called a certificate of participation or a lease back,
Right.
where the county really never owns the property, the facility, or anything. A developer comes in and builds it to suit.
Right.
And then the county lease purchases it back at the
Right.
25-year or a 30-year lease purchase. At the end of those 30 years, and the lease is up, they pay their dollar, and then the county owns it outright.
Right.
The really nice thing about that style, and there's again within that, there's a bunch of other different little ways to go about it.
Right.
But one of the really nice things about that is it is fast.
Right.
It is fast and
Right.
it is cheap. You figure time is money. We all know that. We're all taught that from forever. Time is money. And that's literally true when you're talking about a facility project like this, because everyday materials going up, everyday labor is
Right.
going up,
Right.
everyday interest rates are going up. So you think, well, how much can you really save? Well, on a $50 million project over the life of the project and the term, you're talking $1 million or a couple million, $3 million, $4 to $5 million.
Right.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So how it works is the properties that the county is actually in negotiations with right now, whichever one they finally settle on, the county will never really buy the property. The county will solidify an option. Then, depending on who gets the bid to do the project, that option transfers to that developer.
Okay.
They own the property. For negotiated finance cost, they start the project, owning the property. It's in their best interest to get it done fast. Usually, you have in the design phase of the facility, you write into the contract unforeseens.
Right.
So that you don't get slammed in change orders down the road.
Yep.
And a perfect example of this is the state of California is doing this now with their CHP facilities. The new headquarters down on, I believe it's B Street, B 7th and B or something in Sacramento, was just recently done with this same exact type of finance plan. And it went very smooth. It went faster. Probably 60% faster than any public project.
Yep. Yep.
They got a better product out of it.
Yeah.
And one of the neat things about it, although it is the county still does pay for it in a roundabout way through the lease purchase buyback.
Right.
But the developer, because they need to protect their asset, which is the building,
Right.
in that lease purchase buyback comes the maintenance. So there's automatically a maintenance program built into the facility
Right.
that
Right.
they take on.
Yeah. Sounds like a no-brainer to me.
Well, we'll see. We're gonna,
see.
like
Yeah.
I said, I'm on the committee. We'll be receiving, what's the word I want? Different folks coming in and giving us all different types of.
Coming up with different ideas.
Yeah.
One of the nice things I think about it is that it isn't a huge amount of cash just going out of the county coffers to do this. And this lease buyback program has been around for a long time. Been very successful for a lot of governmental agencies, and it just makes a lot of sense.
Right, and the one of the things with the bond, and I've been very vocal about this, but the county, it's not like we have an option. To do nothing is not an option. So if they put this out to a bond, or even as our auditor suggested, Auditor Joe Harn suggested, put it out for an advisory vote. Well, that's fine. And I understand the transparency of that. And I have been, I believe, as transparent as I can, talking about it on your show, at every public function I go to. I've been extremely transparent about it. But the problem is if you put it out to an advisory vote, and no matter what happens, you got to run a campaign. You have to at least get it out there as much as you can, exactly what it's about. But then if the people say no because you didn't get it out there right or whatever, then what do you do? Again, to do nothing is not an option.
I'm totally against Harn's idea. I just do not see this making any sense whatsoever.
The board, we hire the board to make these decisions.
Yeah.
So make a decision.
And
get it done. So we'll see. We'll see where we end up at. But I'm confident. I've said this before. We're further along in the process than anybody has ever been before.
Right.
To do nothing is not an option. I'm confident that something will get done. But again, it's the time. Every day that goes by literally costs us more money.
Right. Well, let's hope that it all works out and we get moving on this. It's been a long process. I mean, you're on year 5, right?
Well, I'm in year 3.5.
Okay. Yeah.
It seems like 5 now.
Feels like 5.
I'm in 3.5, but this project was started literally, and they started asking the questions and doing studies and whatnot in 1989.
Yeah, it's been around for a long time. I even when a good friend of mine is Dick Pacilio, and even when Dick was in, and we're going back a ways now, in the early 80s, he saw the need for it and tried to move it forward, and got a number of doors slammed in his face, and he was ready to retire anyway, so he let it go. And then Sheriff McDonald, I don't think he actually ever took it by the reins to do anything. Sheriff Barker kind of did, but again, he kept hitting these brick walls, and you only hit your head against the wall so many times before you finally go, okay, I got it. And then then it comes to you, and you're willing to fight for it.
We have to. Again, to do nothing is not an option.
Well, you're like me. Your head's so flat already, it doesn't matter.
Hard. My Italian head.
That's pretty good.
Hard head.
Hey, let's talk some good news on the gun front. Now, for those of you that are pro-firearm, pro-Second Amendment, and all that, you know that we're fighting many fronts in California here. But we have a situation in another state that you wanted to talk about with Sheriff Clark.
Oh, yeah, we had a heck of a campaign going on back there with Sheriff David Clark. He's a well-respected pro-Second Amendment, pro-Constitution sheriff. I've never met him personally. I've watched different things on YouTube and read some of his things that he's put out there. Some of you may know him by he gained a lot of publicity for a radio spot that he did in Milwaukee County, Wisconsin, where he went online and said, "Hey, my budget's dropping, my personnel's dropping, our response times are growing." He was asking the community and pleading with them to get some firearms training. and know how to use the firearms and the laws behind it, so that in the event they needed to protect themselves, they could, until his deputies could get there. And he took a lot of heat for that.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
Now, the last campaign for his spot, he was challenged by a police lieutenant in the Milwaukee Police Department named Mays. It's spelt Moews or something. It's weird, but it's pronounced Mays. He was a lieutenant. He ran and lost. Mays lost last time to Sheriff Clark by, I believe it was 6 points, 47 to 53.
That's a big spread.
This time around, Mays stepped up again and ran against him again. Well, this time around, Bloomberg and the mayors for whatever that group is, gun control and all that, really stepped up for this Mays guy and threw a lot of money. Rob, we were talking earlier, you said it's over $1 million on radio spots, TV spots, mail, and they just hammered Sheriff Clark. It was an ugly, ugly campaign. And the amount of money that they threw at this guy, who was completely the opposite of Sheriff Clark. He's a anti-gun, and he says that he blames Sheriff Clark of being a politician, but whatever.
Here we have total anti-gunner.
Yes. Yesterday was the election in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and Sheriff Clark won, although this time by a little bit slimmer margin, 52 to 48. But he won, and that was huge. Yeah,
that means that money doesn't always win an election. No. So good for those folks in Milwaukee County area, and good to Sheriff Clark. You know what might be neat? We got to set up a call one of these days on our show and just have him call in. Wouldn't that be neat?
That'd be neat.
Maybe we'll work on that. We'll see if we can't get that, because you know, folks, in California, I know so many people that are moving out of California because we've got all these stupid anti-gun bills. We mentioned the ammunition bill that's possibly going to be passed by the Senate, and we're all holding our breath waiting to see what the governor's going to do. And as you know, Sheriff DeAugustini is very much a constitutionalist and really believes in your Second Amendment rights, as we do here. And I think it's important that we fight this fight. This is just ridiculous. We're losing only because the high-density population bases in California are San Francisco and Los Angeles to San Diego. It's just that western side there where all the population is. These people have no clue about firearms. They're not taught it at all. They're not big hunters. It's just, but I can't believe the bell doesn't ring. And when we always talk about, you know, when you need law enforcement officers, you know, you got to protect yourself, because they're, you know, when seconds count, they'll be there minutes later.
That's right. That's right.
You know, that's what it's all about. So unfortunately, in California, you know, sometimes it's just getting ridiculous. These guys seem to want to write an anti-gun bill just because they can.
Yeah. What's the bill? The ammo bill 53, is it? SB 53 or
it's either 53 or 52. I can't remember right now. And this bill is so bad.
Ridiculous.
Like, bad guys go to the store and buy ammo.
Yeah.
Haven't we always talked about it? Like, they go into a gun shop and buy a gun. It doesn't make sense. So what this bill does, it makes it so that in California, the only way you can purchase your ammunition is it has to be across the counter. In other words, you have to go to a store. By the way, you have to buy annually an ammunition license, $20 to $25, something like that. There are no internet sales of ammunition. I'm not sure how in the world they're going to control that. I mean, it's totally nuts. I mean, it's back to how, you know, bad guys don't go into stores and buy things. They steal everything.
The question is, I haven't read it. What about your existing ammo? Do you have to pay the license?
No.
You know, that's a good question.
Existing ammo, from what I've been told, is it's yours. It's already yours. But you cannot buy any ammunition from here on out unless you have your little certificate and it's across the counter from a licensed ammunition dealer. So even the retailers are going to have to get some kind of special permit or license to sell ammunition. You can no longer go to, I will no longer be able to go to Shields and buy my 17 HMR ammo that I do on my way to shoot ground squirrels, because I'm a California resident.
Right.
I can't bring any of it back if I do. If we're out hunting quail, and hey, Rob, I'm out of shells. Give me some more shells. If you give me shells out in the field, You're not guilty of a misdemeanor, and so am I for receiving them. It's ludicrous. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
We're just, and it's hard to keep the energy going because I've been on this campaign for over 25 years now of trying to make some sanity ever since the Roberti Ruse bill came in on the assault weapons, which, is another ridiculous bill that law that we still have to live with. And it's just, the state of the fight is very difficult. I know those of you out there that are NRA members or GOC members or CRPA members or Cal-Org members or whatever, you get hit every day for donations. And I understand that after a while you feel like you're being bled dry. I do understand that. But we really need to support the big organizations that are here in California fighting the fight. I'm as high as I can go as membership in the NRA. And the NRA gets money from me every year, but I'm making sure that Gun Owners of California, California Rifle and Pistol Association, and Cal-Orgs, it's a small amount, I can't afford much, but I give them a little so that their attorneys can get in here and start fighting this stuff, because that's where it's going to end up at.
And write your own letters, and write your own emails, and make your own phone calls, and be the vocal majority that we really are, instead of the vocal minority that's winning the fight, because it's not going to stop.
No, and I feel, my opinion right now, all my effort, letter writing, everything is going to go to the governor, because these legislators, they just, you're a little tick mark somewhere. If you actually write a letter, you can send an email and you can send a fax, but it really doesn't do much. You can call. And I'll do that, and I'll call, and you get the guy on the end, and basically he says, "What are you, pro or against?" And you give your opinion. They don't really care. It's another tick mark on a piece of paper. So I just take a little handwritten note, just a note saying, "This is ridiculous. This is stupid. You need to fight or veto this bill, whatever it may be, and sign my name to it." And that probably gets more attention than anything else. Is when you actually spend the time to physically write something to them now. It gets their attention. So let's just hope that Governor Brown's got some brain cells left and understands the stupidity of this, because and the sheriff can tell you that the bad guys are not going into gun stores and buying guns or ammunition. No. It just doesn't happen. They're stealing it.
Yeah.
Okay. And by the way, the latest update on one of the questions I get every one of my classes is the microstamping bill situation. We are still facing it. Our Attorney General has not backed down on trying to implement something that doesn't exist.
Right.
The date is September 1 that it's supposed to go into effect. And we have numerous gun manufacturers all saying that they are not going to sell to California any longer. That includes Smith & Wesson, Ruger, Carr. I think it just keeps going. They keep getting on the bandwagon saying, we're not going to be we're not going to do something for one state. By the way, Glock's involved with this too, because they make a 3rd gen that is the only one legal in California. They're on 5th gen now. They're not going to make the 3rd gens anymore. They're done with California too. So there won't be any Glocks in California except for law enforcement. And so, it just gets to be absolutely ridiculous that a state like ours has gone to this extreme where you have manufacturers saying, we've given up. They've actually given up.
Yeah, because they don't want safe streets. They just want no guns.
Yeah,
that's what they want.
That's it.
That's their agenda.
And that's what I think this deal with Harris, Attorney General Harris, is on this microstamping bill. She knows it doesn't exist. It's a technology that's not dependable. It was done in a lab. It's not supposed to be. It doesn't function. It doesn't work properly. And yet we have a law that comes into effect September 1, where you will not find one handgun for sale in a gun store in California.
And she takes the same oath of office I do.
Yeah. How's that work?
I'll imagine that.
Disappointing. Mm-hmm. So I hate to end on a sad story, but I know you hear it every day like I do. You pro gunners out there, but even if it's $5, send them $5. They all need a little bit of help. And yes, you're going to continuously get emails and mail asking for more money, but they need it, because we're going to end up in some huge court fights that are going to take years to to do this, but we've got to do something. And the only way we can do it is if we all join together and we fight this fight equally.
Mm-hmm.
You know, years ago it was like the pistol guys and the rifle guys and shotgun guys, they're all separate. They didn't care. If there was a bill, if you're a shotgun guy and there was a handgun bill, they didn't care because they had their shotguns. Well, now we're all in the same pool. We're all together here. We have to unite and we got to stop this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, you know, I really don't have much else to add here. We've had a pretty nice August. It's gone pretty good. We did another long motorcycle ride, Paul and I, back up to the Redwoods.
Rub
and
it in.
Well,
Rub
you did
it
yours.
in.
You did yours.
I
You
did
told me
mine.
yours.
Rub it in.
Yeah. So we've put in another 1,800 some miles.
Nice.
This in
Good
5-6
for you.
days. It was neat.
Good
So
for you.
that's fun. So when you don't see me, I'm off and running. That's why John runs the show. So Jonathan, our producer here. But John, I want to thank you again for coming on into Old Guy Tech TV. And folks, please, if you can donate to keep us on the air, we appreciate it. We want to help out in emergencies as well and be part of the puzzle if we can at all. And once again, remember on August 22nd at the fairgrounds, there's going to be basically to support everybody that helped you. Come on out there if you can make it and just say hi. And thanks to everybody. We had a nice safe fire. We got it knocked out. And how many? We didn't lose too many homes, did we?
Well, the official number that I saw right after the fire on the debrief was 20 residential structures, 1 in Amador County, 19 in El Dorado County. Now that has since been, from what I'm hearing, downgraded to actually only 9 residences.
Right, because they were including outbuildings, barns.
Well, that number 2, there was some 47 outbuildings and the 20 residences.
Oh, okay.
Now it's down to way more outbuildings and only 9 residences.
That's great.
So
that's great.
it gets changed every day a little bit.
Well, I sure hope those families managed to get out safely, which they did. But with some of the stuff, you know, one of the things I brought us back to the show. One of the things you guys need to do is make a plan on what you're going to do when you get that call to evacuate. And I always tell people there's certain things you can't replace. Remember, you can replace everything. Family photos you can't replace. There are some documents you can't replace. Your pets, your children, your family you can't replace. Everything else can go. Mm-hmm. So have a plan, make a plan. Make a plan that if your family members are in different locations where you're going to meet up, spend some time doing that. That's important. We've reevaluated our plan here because one of the things we left off their list, and I don't know how we left it off, was our firearms. So that added on the list because we're just going to go grab everything in the safe and take off. And that'll be most of it. So make that plan. Make sure you make yourself nice and safe. And hey, you know, for Sheriff John DeAugustini and myself and Old Guy Tech TV, thank you for watching. We'll hope to see you next time.